All right, everyone. Dr. Imfan Akpan here. I wanted to get into it with one of my favorite AI creators to talk about computer engineering or agentic engineering, to get his take, to get your take on what you think about this. All right, let's get into it.
Are dead. Those contribution graphs, they're not worth anything anymore. Code is going to get so cheap. You tell me somebody reports a bug and then you park it somewhere until somebody thinks they have time to look at it. And then what? Then they spawn an agent. The agents are already running the tests for you. You can get a lot of speed by leaning into this. People say, oh, AMP is tasteful. Like they say, this is polished. But the fact is that 99% is written by AI.
This is Thorsten Ball, a founding engineer at AMP and the author of the famous Go books. In this podcast, we discuss why everything needs a CLI, whether computer science fundamentals still matter, and why 99% of slop comes from humans and not AI. If you want to be on the frontier of AI coding, watch until the end. This is the David Ondrej podcast. Enjoy. You know, the people who are still in the 2024, 2025 era of AI, how do they embrace the new way?
So one thing we've been doing from the start with.
Now, what's so wild is that he said 2024, 2025 era. So you think about it, November 30th, 2022 is when we got ChatGPT 3.5. And now he's talking about the 2024, 2025 era. It's 2026. We're just a little bit halfway through 2026. That's wild.
The AMP is, we cannot stand still. The last 1.5 years has proven us correct. We could have made a lot more money and gotten a lot more users if we had stuck to a way of working that was maybe prevalent in early 2025. Oh, you have a single agent in a sidebar in VS Code, and enterprise customers, they want like a proper permission system. Yeah. And you only run these commands, you know, like all of that stuff. And I want attribution. I want every line of code to be attributable to one instance. That's really important. And if we had built this, I think we would have gotten 1 year of enterprise contracts, made a bunch of money with it. But then after a year, the competition would have been somewhere else. So with AMP, from the start, we said we have to optimize the company, the team, the code base, and the product to be able to move fast, to shed weight when we think the frontier has moved on again. So if you look at our, ampcode.com/news, the meme is we're constantly killing features because we think they're no longer necessary. And we've been doing this a lot, like the ultimate thing, AMP.
Constantly killing features because they're no longer necessary. Wow.
Code.com deleted itself, whatever. But they're right. And to give you a concrete example, first we had a VS Code extension and a TUI, right? That was par for the course last year. Remember, like we all have VS Code extensions. And then we said, no, like the VS Code extension, that's dead. Like it doesn't make sense to have this next to the editor. Who has the editor open anymore? Like, yes, the TUI is not for everybody, but like, let's not get stuck to the editor. But if we would have stayed, we would have kept around users who really like to stay in their comfort zone. And then the question is, do you build up an echo chamber for yourself? So we said, let's go to kill it. But I think most of the time they appreciate us pushing. And we have a lot of customers that actually like to use AMP because they appreciate us doing this. They ask us, they're like, guys, what's the meta? Like, what do you guys use? What's the model? How do you prompt,
Yeah, because it's the research, right? Like you're doing the research, not just the software.
Exactly. Like with the AMP Frontier Corporation, it's the official company name. And one of our things is we got to stay on the frontier. And then people pay us money so that they don't have to make the choice what goes into high or ultra or medium or what thinking levels. It's a waste of time for most people to like go around like, oh, I'm going to use GLM5 too. Like you should think about what do you want to do? Where does the information live? How agent friendly is your code base? And then concentrate on getting stuff done, but don't get bogged down in the details.
Yeah, I have a lot of notes about everything you just said. I guess let's start from the backlog. In the olden days, everything would go to a backlog, but now you can just like launch a new agent, new session, and it can be fixed, in 10 minutes. So instead of like you stashing it somewhere for somebody.
I like the way he said the olden days.
Somebody else or for yourself, and then you have to remember it a couple of weeks. You can just like do it when you have that context, when you have that energy. the agent works on it, and it's done. That's, I guess, one of the things. But I think the bigger threat is like each generation of models, so much changes that we need to figure out like, how do we work? You know, what is the workflows?
Exactly.
What does the user interface look like?
I 100% agree with you. It feels like I paid you to say this.
We now have powerful models like Fable 5 or GPT 5.6 Sol. And when you plug these models into agent harnesses like Claude Code, Codex, or Cursor, they can build full stack apps with no issues. But the moment these agents touch your database, that's where things get dangerous. They often skip RLS policies, they hallucinate CLI commands that don't exist, and they rely on training data that's months or years out of date. This is why Supabase released Agent Skills. This is a free open source skill that makes any agent good at using Supabase. One command installs it, and it works right away with Claude Code, Codex, Cursor, Pi, and basically any other agent out there. So instead of guessing, your agent now checks the official Supabase docs before doing anything. And it follows a built-in security checklist. RLS on every exposed schema, security invoker on views, and other best practices, just like a professional backend engineer would. Supabase is betting on a world where agents write all of your code. And this is them setting the foundations for it. If your agents are touching the database, make sure to install this Supabase skill first. The link is going to be in the description, and it's completely free to get started. Thank you, Supabase, for sponsoring this video.
I said last week, I think the models are dead in the sense that Fable is pretty good. GPT 5.6 is pretty good. But we're now at the level where I don't have to like watch a model and then like, oh, don't change this file or don't like, I think there's diminishing returns now to like this close up managing of what a single model does. I think you could trust them a lot more than people do. And I think if people have like issues with, oh, it doesn't use camel case or whatever it is, I think they need to take a step back and rethink software engineering, because the way I phrased it for a couple of weeks now is you will get a button with which you can spawn a John Carmack that writes the code for you. The John Carmack, it doesn't speak unless spoken to. So you need to wake it up or have another John Carmack wake it up, right? That's a peculiar thing. Like he doesn't walk around discovering new things, but it won't make mistakes of syntax. It won't make expression mistakes. Like it will do the thing that you ask it to do. But then you got to ask yourself, what do I want to do? And a lot of software development was consumed with how to do things. Like, how do I write this? What's the best way to structure this? What's the best way to write this? How do I approach this? How do I approach this? Like a lot of stuff in software development followed from this. And I think a lot of this stuff is not useful anymore. And I think even stuff like I have a custom slash grant. This is the stuff that I invoke when I review, or this is the flow that I do when, like, the models are pretty good, man. Like if you ask Fable to review, like, spawn a different agent and say, review it, you know, whatever. But man, diminishing returns. The most important, number in this equation of how good are the results is the information that you put in. It's not about like details. It's like, okay, is this a gnarly problem? Like, do you want like the John Carmack or do you want John Carmack's little brother? It's insane to me that people take coding agents and then bolt them onto this old way of working where you tell me somebody reports a bug and then you park it somewhere until somebody thinks they have time to look at it. And then what? Then they spawn an agent. Why don't you optimistically spawn these agents and have them parked somewhere and then go through?
He said, why don't you optimistically spawn the agent? Optimistically. So think positive about the technology. Think about how well it is working and to give it some trust and to push forward. I think this is a really good point.
Them and look at the bug fixes and see if they're good or not. You don't need to estimate whether this is worth doing if it's all being done in the background while you sleep. Like, let's just do it. A lot of stuff has changed. Old assumptions are no longer true. The agent is already async. It's already running the tests. It's already in a sandbox with like isolated state, right? It's not like there's some stuff lying around. It's pretty good at doing this. So if you ask it to run all of the tests and it runs them, you're telling me you're then gonna push it somewhere else and then have it run again for 10 minutes because you have a CI system somewhere else that does basically the same thing? Like, the agents are already running the tests for you. Like, you gotta rethink a lot of stuff from first principles is what I'm saying. You probably should just pick a good model and focus on getting stuff done versus tweaking around other models. If you do it in your free time, whatever, for fun, go knock yourself out. But I don't think that's where the performance lies. I don't think that's where the good results come from.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's like knowing what to build and then building it.
Yeah,
I think like I have this controversy,
and I like what he mentioned before, that a lot of the software engineering is around designing and putting things together, and I agree with that, and I can see that in other areas, and it is a lot of rethinking, and I think that is the challenge, because we've been, and I can say we've been native in one environment, and this is developed into a totally different environment that we're not native to. And we have to learn how to rethink and rework what we do. So now we don't have to sort of plan all of these things. We can just do the thing. I like the way they say that, do the thing. So instead of planning the thing before you do the thing, you can just do it, and the agent can start working on it. And I like when he was saying, okay, you have a bug, why wait and then have the agent do it? Just have the agent check it while you're doing something else. So this delegation is something that I think I struggle with. And just to share with you, some of the things I've been doing is working. Like initially, I would sit with Codex and watch Codex work, but I could do something else while Codex is working. So I started building the habit of telling Codex what I want to do, letting it do it, and then I work on something else. And then I started getting into the habit of using the app. So if I needed to go for a walk, I can go on the app and Codex is working and doing things while I'm doing something else. That was the best thing that really helped me to kind of separate myself from the computer and then see how I could actually work and make changes while I'm doing something else. The other thing that I did was when I'm sleeping, I started thinking about things that I needed to do that I could have Codex work on while I'm asleep. And when I wake up, all of those things are done and I can review them. So now, if you think about there's certain tasks, you can either have them all done, or things that would have taken 3 hours, you can finish in 1 hour. Or a 4-hour task, it can work on it overnight and you wake up and it's done. You're sleeping. The other thing I think with the mindset shift is having the AI to multitask. I even did a TEDx talk about how multitasking is not your friend. It is your friend. And that's another thing. You can have 3, 4, 5 tabs open on Codex and have it running 3, 4, 5 different things at the same time while you sleep, or even scheduling tasks. So I think that's very important. The mindset shift, I think, is more important than the technology, because the technology has advanced so much and it's so good at this point. It's really your mindset.
Opinion, and I think it's becoming less controversial, that people say AI slop, but I think most of slop comes from humans not having good productive.
Yes.
They just, with AI they can just build these trash products faster.
Is your team dead in the water for their deadline?
Okay, team, the deadline is tomorrow. Where are we at?
Yeah. Maybe it's bragging, but look, people say, oh, AMP is tasteful. Like they say, this is polished, whatever. They like the key bindings. They like a bunch of stuff. Or they say, you guys have good taste. You polish, you craft, whatever it is, right? But the fact is that from what you see here, 99% is written by AI. Like nobody on our team writes code by hand anymore. That much. I did a poll internally last week or 2 weeks ago, and I said, how much code is written? What do you guys think? And I gave 3 options, and one option was 99 plus, the other was between 90 and 99, and then I was like below 90. I didn't even anticipate that somebody would go lower than 80%. And then Camden, who's on our team and who's great, he's like, I think I still write a bunch of code by hand. And then I'm like, Camden, really? Like, how much code do you write by hand? And he goes, you're right. It's probably 95%, So I agree with you. I think I put a lot of care into the stuff that I build, but it's the ideas, it's like, do I think this little icon is misplaced? Do I think this icon should have a tooltip? Do I think we should have a cool animation? That stuff here where you can, you spawn AMP and it shows you this animated orb, like what AI helped me to do here was it generated 15 different versions of these orbs in different colors that I can look through. Right? It made this faster for me. I said, like, give me a version with like Braille characters. Give me a version with these characters. Give me 5 different versions. Give me 18 different colors. And then I went through them and picked the one that I like best. And it seems to resonate with people. So I used AI to express what I think is good faster, without doing a bunch of work. If I had to write this orb by myself, never would have done it. But now I did, and people love it, and they think it's I don't want to say it's human, but it resonates with people and they think it's high taste. And to your point, it's not slop. It's not the enshittification of everything. I use AI, or we use AI to accelerate it, right? People like our news posts and say we have like good background images in the news posts and whatnot, right? That's me and Tim and Brad going turn by turn by turn in Midjourney. That's me reading Moby Dick and thinking about orbs and then trying to combine in my head Moby Dick and orb. What else could we do? Let's mix this up. Let's ask ChatGPT for 10 different variations of this Midjourney prompt. Let's pick this one. Let's remix this one. AI helps me to go faster, but I still put the effort in. And I don't think it's slop. So yeah, I agree with you. If it's slop, it's because there's a lack of ideas and there's a lack of input. There's a lack of knowing what you want to exist in the world, or a lack of playfulness, whatever you want to call it. Creativity, maybe. I agree.
Going fast, but still having to put the effort in. I think that was amazing for me. I should make it a t-shirt. Going fast, but still putting the effort in, meaning you're still guiding it, you're still doing the work, but you're able to do a lot more, a lot faster. If you had to code by hand 10 versions of something or make 10 different thumbnails, that might take weeks, whereas you can have AI to do it right away.
I agree.
So for people like who want to start a new project, let's say they want to build an AI startup this year, given the state of AI agents, how would you advise them to do that?
Start thinking about what you want the business to be. Like, what's your market? Who's your customer? How do you serve them? How do you generate value? How do you sell? Let's turn it around. Let's say somebody's really interested in hiring salespeople and wants to create an AI startup. How should they start? It's the same thing. Like, why would you hire salespeople if you don't know what the company is? It's the same thing for software now, where software as the thing itself, like, that's become less valuable. We said this last year on our podcast. We said, like, open source is going to take a hit. Like, those contribution graphs, then they're not worth anything anymore. Like, code is going to get so cheap. Now it's much more about what is the software doing? How much value is it providing? And that sounds boring as hell, but that's just the truth of it. And the interesting thing is that actually in the last 20, 30 years, most programmers were in that lucky situation where the thing that they really care about and treat as their craft or as their hobby overlapped with what's valuable for the business. Like the guy who really likes writing Haskell on the weekend, turns out he's also the guy who can build like a good finance backend because he really cares about types and whatnot, and is really good at modeling this stuff. But now Fable is also pretty good at that stuff. And people say, well, I got domain experience. And then it's like, man, I've seen these models. This was GPT-5.5, where you ask it to write a database migration. And it just says like, oh, wait, we cannot drop the column yet. We got to add the new column. We got to deploy this. We got to write to the new column, wait until all the other code is gone. Only then do we drop the old column. Like, that's stuff that a senior engineer taught me in like my first 2 or 3 years as an engineer. And I think that was a hard-won lesson that nobody really spelled out to me like that. And it seems trivial, but man, it's something the model does in like half a minute. And like a lot of stuff is just faster and easy to get done and thus cheaper. So the question is more, what do you want to get done? Does that answer the question? Is this like, am I cheating by saying?
No. Like that, I think that answers like the product side of it. So let me ask the second side. It's like, do you build for the human or do you build for the agent?
Oh,
Because the
interesting.
orbs, for example, orbs you build for the agents, right? Even you say like the humans,
Yeah.
they might want a local, blah, blah, blah. It's like, nah, the agent wants a full computer. He wants to do anything on that computer. How do you think about product like that?
I think we're all finding out. I think it's kind of changing, right? I think all of software is trying to find out what is the future of software. Like there's been a few ideas like everything will be an API or everything will be a CLI and then the agents will do your shopping and whatnot. And maybe that's what happens. I do think like a lot of old software will die out. The question is how fast, like can you get like the 70-year-old people to use an agent to book a flight for them? I don't know. But like what I think, like if I had to start and build for the frontier a new product, right? I would make it so that no human has to fill out forms again. I think that's dumb. Like that stuff is dumb. Like everything that a human can do, they should be able to ask an agent to do on the website, right? That would be amazing. The APIs are maybe not there yet, but it would be good to be able to bring your own agent. Like most people don't want to use your shitty built-in agent, maybe, like it would be nice if I can use AMP to do my shopping for me on another site or, whatever. I don't know if that's a pipe dream, but that's how I think about it. I think a lot of stuff is stuck in the old assumption. To give you a funny example, on Sunday, it's Tuesday now, on Sunday, I'm here in a local club and we had like a little festival. And I built like for fun in an orb from my phone, I built like a little shopping thing where people can order food and whatnot. And then the kitchen gets like the orders and they can check them off and whatnot, because that's what we did with paper on Sunday. So somebody was like, can't you make an app for this? And I'm like, actually I can. So I built the app, right? I took a photo of like the menu, front and back, took 2 photos, sent it to the thing, and it built it, works, did it in the orb. I could share the URL. People could go to the URL. It worked. It was crazy. The interesting, and to me, maybe only to me, you tell me, but the philosophically interesting thing to me was it built an admin interface where somebody could now go and look through all of the products that are on the menu and adjust the prices manually, right? Or adjust how they're spelled and stuff. And I looked at this and I'm like, I'm never going to do that, dude. Like, I'm not going to go in there and use the form. What are you talking about? I'm going to use you, AMP, in that code base again. I'm going to send you another photo if the prices change. And I'm going to say, fix the pricing, Like a lot of setting stuff, a lot of admin stuff, a lot of stuff that a human did so that no code had to be changed is now probably easier by changing the code. Imagine a WordPress backend, right? Where you build a WordPress backend so that everybody in your company, marketing and whatnot, could add a blog post and stuff like this and had a spell checker and stuff. If you had an agent in your code base, you could say, here's the draft for my blog post. Please add this header image and publish this blog post and do a spell check. That's one sentence. And it goes and does it. And you don't have to click around with a bunch of stuff. So if you start a new company, you start a new code base, you have to think about what is the role of code in your product. Don't fall into the trap of thinking the old way of, shipping software is still valuable, because it might not be like it. The calculus has changed. You can do a lot of stuff, even stuff that seems unfeasible or seemed unfeasible, like having 5 different copies of stuff, having 5 different versions being built, all of that stuff. I think you need to rethink. And I think the whole, software industry is figuring this out at the same time.
I think that's amazing where he pointed out, having all of these different versions, 5 different versions, 6 different versions, you really got to change your mindset. Having the AI to optimistically work on your projects for you. I think that is amazing. I'd love to hear what you think about this. As always, make sure you like and subscribe. And hey, give me some feedback. Love to hear your comments.